Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Classics Show, another episode with me, your host, Shabnam Riaz. It's always a pleasure to be here, and it's a wonderful experience to be able to talk about something that is so close to the heart, something that is, you know, literature, the classics, arts, those things in life, music as well, they enrich your life and they can give you a sort of a tranquil and a soothing effect and depth to everything that is going on. And I always think, you know, it's a safe haven away from all the craziness that's going on in the world today. Well, today we have a very special program that's lined up for you, and it's actually a tribute to Bano Qudsia, who was affectionately known as Bano Appa as well. She passed away recently, a great blow to literature. Many people came out with outpouring of grief and many tributes to her, to the work she'd done. She was such a prolific writer. And of course, she was a novelist, a playwright, a spiritualist. And her work has been, it's been so well received. One of her very famous novels, Raja Gid, was something that was phenomenal. It's still being discussed at length, a very complex novel. She was the recipient of many awards, the Hilal-e-Imtiyaz, the Sitare-e-Imtiyaz, the Kamal-e-Fan, and also the Lifetime Achievement Award as well. So this program today is to celebrate, you know, the justice that you can do in just under an hour. You can't, but we're just going to explore some of the things that she has left us with, these treasures and these jewels, and what we can do with them and how we can enjoy as her spirit lives on. Well, for today's program, we have a guest here who is a digital artist and has done her master's in fine arts. This is Hina Mehboob. Hina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Shabnam.
It's lovely having you here.
Same here.
And Hina, the reason that you know, you're in the studios today and we're talking about Bano Appa, as she was so affectionately known, is because you have had the pleasure of meeting her, of speaking to her about a novel that has been critically acclaimed, something that is even being taught in the CSS exams as well, you know, examined. It's not being taught, the questions are on her book, Raja Gid. Tell us about you reading the book first, and then of course you did a thesis in 2008, didn't you, on Raja Gid. How did that come about, and what challenges did you face?
Okay, Shabnam, first of all, it's great honor for me here on this show and talk about Bano Qudsia, as she was great personality, generous lady. Okay, things like I faced while doing, actually Raja Gid, how I read that in 2004. Since that time, I was like, I should do something for this, like in this regard for this novel. I should make some paintings on it. So I started my thesis, that was, I did actually master in illustrations. So it was a challenge for me as well, working on such a difficult book as well. So because it's a complex novel, and apart from that, really language also is complex in it. We have to understand it. Most important thing is that I'm not that much Urdu literate, because all of my studies were in English and it was in other subjects. So what I did, I started taking even classes from some professor from GC University. Like I sat with them. I understand like what's the meaning of these things, like what meaning of such a complex Urdu. So apart from that, then I started my master thesis. Again, it was a big challenge for me, like my university.
Where did you get the idea of the illustrations when you read the book? When did you get that? Where did that come from?
Okay, that was like when we started our thesis, it's first year of master, like starting of masters. We are told and asked, just start thinking of what you want to do. Before I was like, I should work on some poetry, I should work on some children book. Then I decided, no, I want to do something different, and which is internationally already awarded. So I want to do something different, and which has meaning also, and which we can relate somewhere else as well. So then I get the idea of, I submitted my paper like I'm going to do Raja Gid. Suddenly I got call from my chairman, no, you are not going to do this.
Why was that? What was the
because
reason there?
Again, the thing is that Bano Qudsia, she is well-known personality, and this novel again is very well known.
It has many layers.
Yeah,
it's very
exactly,
deep.
and it's very deep. He said me one thing: how you can do it? It's not possible. Just skip this idea and do something else. You think for 1 week, then come back to me. I said, no, I want to do it now, and I take it as a challenge.
Okay.
And that was challenge for me. No, I'll do it, and let me prove myself. So then I did it. I got distinction.
How long did it
It
take
took
you?
6 months.
Okay.
It took 6 months, like in perceiving of idea on what part should I work in it,
Okay.
and what things should I should start in it, and then it's like when you are working, you see every points, like what point you are going to you are going to portray in a form of painting and in form of illustration. So then my master got like the point came like there was jury, and final jury was on there. So what happened? It got like I got like distinction in just because of this novel,
fabulous.
just because of
So
this.
then, here you've come along with the thesis, and you've taken a very a challenging task. Your subject was very challenging indeed. Okay, so you've come along to the thesis. How did this build up onto your meeting Bano?
It was really one of amazing meeting. Like I didn't knew that even I'm going to meet her, because I was just working, and I used to think during my work, what if I get a meeting with Bano Qudsia and I can show her this I've done on this work.
And you must have been very excited
yeah,
about
exactly.
it.
I was very excited when I met her. She's very generous lady. She's such a sweet lady, and such a polite lady I haven't seen in my life. Like when I went to her, just because of some
Was it easy to meet her, to get an appointment?
Actually, I've heard she never meet anyone like that.
So how did you manage?
She got to know from from one reference that I am working on this novel. I worked on this novel. So she said, okay, let's tie up a meeting.
Okay.
So one day I got that meeting, and it was just I got like half our time, but the meeting went for 2 hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. All right, tell us about that. Your first impression. You saw her. I mean, this is a lady who's this is a writer whose book you had studied in extensive detail, and then we're coming along to you're actually getting to meet her. So what were your anticipation and feelings at that
Like
time?
my feeling is, I can't explain that, because the reason was that she is one of my favorite writer as well. Though I don't read novels much, but this was novel I really loved, and I really liked that. So when I met her, she was like, okay, you are the person. You have done something. Show me what you have done.
Okay.
I've heard a lot, like you have worked very good, and and one more thing, like she said me, it is really challenging thing that you did right now, because Raja Get novel title was done by her brother, and it got never like changed. Still, it is on that thing, but what happened? Like when I get with this work to her, she really got happy. Like it's for the first time someone is coming up with my words, and you portrayed my word into picture, and this is amazing part. This comment when I got, I was really excited. Like some very legend personality gave me this comment.
Okay.
So then when I start talking with her, many things come on part, like come in way, like discussion was, I asked her, what's the reason, means in how much time you wrote this like novel? She said.
And what was your inspiration? You must have asked her that as well. What did she say?
She said like time is unlimited. It took ages. Like it's very close to her heart. It was close to her heart as well. It took ages, and I don't know, something came spiritually. There was something inside me. I kept on writing. And yes, one more thing, motivation was from Ishfaq Ahmed Saab also. She used to quote at every point, like Ishfaq Ahmed Saab, he really motivated her at every point, and he helped her out in every point, every phase as well.
Right.
So this was in the first meeting,
Okay.
and she literally kissed my hand, and that
how
was
wonderful.
really great thing for me. That some very big personality, and she really praised a lot my work. And then what she asked me, she said, "Okay, what you are going to do with this work?" I said, I just did my thesis. I don't know what next I'm going to do. She said, "Okay, I'll purchase this work. I'll buy this work." So and again, this was
Must have been such an
exactly
amazing sort
when
of
I was student.
an honor.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's honor for me and
Yeah.
privilege for me. Like she bought my she bought my work, and I got meeting with her, and it was in very first meeting. So then we start discussing about Raja Gid also. It means what's this about? She okay. One more question I want to say. She asked me what okay after reading this novel, how you feel and see people.
Okay,
This
then
was-
that is
yeah,
a very, very pivotal
exactly.
question, isn't it? Because it's the study of human natures and
Exactly.
the dark side that we have to us, and
it's very
the
deep nature.
synonymous with the vulture.
It's very deep, deep novel. I feel like when I was also reading, I used to like get involved. I got involved so much. Like I went in, like I used to be stressed also sometime. When she asked me what you now how you see people, I said I see people like vultures and some different birds and whatever you have described in the novel. I find some people like that. Even she relate at some point women's with even crow. So even I see women's like when they are chit chatting, they behave like crow.
And the interesting part of this is, of course, that when we make a symbolic depiction of the human race or human nature with anything, what you said is that she had said to you that there is a vulture inside everybody,
Exactly.
and the art of living or the art of perfecting a person's personality is to be able to tame that side of you. And what did she have to say about that?
Like it's about basically about if I talk about this novel, I had discussion with her also. She said actually this novel is not on one person, one human, or not on man. It's on whole human nature. Means human is actually there is vulture inside every human. Either we accept it or we don't. It's just the matter of where we accept that. Like we live like that, life like that. We most of the time it's all on us how we save ourselves, and it's just built inside human thing. And apart from that, like if we see in the novel also, Bano Qudsia has very strongly written, and it's everywhere in all over the novel. There are three things where novel itself revolves around.
Right.
That is ishq-e hasil, madness and love, right? Insanity again, and then there is link between halal and haram. Where you
And the
earn how you
pursuing of forbidden love,
exactly,
and
that
how
same
that
common
makes you
madness of
end
love,
up.
exactly. And then fear of death was also in this story, in this novel. It's all fiction, but the way she had portrayed that, it's really amazing. Like comparison between human nature and like comparing it with vulture. And it's really amazingly she has described everything inside her. And then one more thing that was spirituality in human nature. There is spirituality in every human, but I also believe that. And she also, everywhere she had portrayed this thing. Where you take it to wrong side or to right side, it all depend on us.
And which is, what she's saying in this novel is that you are going to travel a certain path with a destination or a mindset that is going to take you there. And that is the examination of this actually story, isn't it? That when you're going in a certain direction where something is forbidden, and how that path will evolve and how you are going to get stuck further and further and further. She talks a lot about the definition of insanity or madness, as well as is in the characters when we're talking about them at the university and their professor, the conversation with the professor and the students as to identifying madness. Tell us a bit about that as well. Did she speak to you about that, that concept that she had?
She overall spoke about all these things, like three things that she focused on that. And it is, okay, one more thing I want to say, like I asked her, means what's the reason, like you took this thing and what you say about it? Like I perceived it like that, I portrayed. She said you did fair job on that.
Okay, great.
You justified it fairly. Like it's again human nature with vulture, again, we don't know where it leads to. Again, one more thing I want to quote, like if you say about madness, there are two kinds of madness, which leads to destructive side and constructive side.
Yeah.
Destructive sided, we don't know where it takes to. We destroy ourselves in certain things, like we keep on doing, like we fell into like haram and halal also. Then again ishkil hasil come into that. And again spirituality, we take sometimes spiritual are of many forms, in many forms we take it to right path also. And if we take to constructive side, it's all that we build positivity around the in
And
everywhere.
creativeness.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, one more thing again, in it, like I asked her, means at that time how you thought of that. It's actually this novel is depicting, and this novel portrays today's society also.
And yeah, exactly. And it's also a worldwide phenomenon. It's not
Exactly.
restricted
True.
to any
True.
set part of the world.
Exactly.
It's something that sort of encircles human nature as it is. Because if you think of the vulture and you think that, you know, they are, for them, something that is about to die is what it attracts them. So the element of vulnerability, the element of weakness is something they feed on. So that
Exactly.
is so symbolic of the human nature as well, isn't it?
Exactly. It is like again ishkil hasal we link here. Like we don't know where it is going to lead us. Either we take it in on positive side or we take it in negative side. And again it relate with like environment and social what is happening around socially also. And again, in her novel, if you read that, most of the time she wrote in like 3 and 4 pattern, like spirituality, social environment, what we relate with socially, and again psychologically also. In whole novel, it was all like dealt psychologically. There is a great thing and impact and relation everywhere, whatever she has written. And her focus was mainly on that also. Even scientific things also. She wrote whatever is in novel. There are some scientific relations also.
Right.
And again, that goes with spirituality also.
So how many meetings did you have with her?
My meetings were 3.
3.
I met her
Okay.
3 times.
Right. Tell us about, you know, the things, her lifestyle. She was a simple lady.
She was very simple lady. I haven't seen such a simple lady in my life. She's
For
very
someone with
simple.
such depth and such knowledge and being able to perceive things, such a prolific writer, because her plays had also made a huge impact on television in Pakistan. Did you, the sort of, you know, the understanding you had of her as a person, as a writer, and when you actually get to see her, how did they all come together in your mind?
They were like such a simple lady writing such complex things and such like of today's society and what actually we see around us. But she really lived in simple manners, simple way, simple dressing.
It must have been all the more impressive.
It's
It
very
must have been all the more sort of, you know, cementing that, you know, this lady has such strength of character to be
Exactly.
able to just stand as you are and not needing anything else to provide any backdrop to, you know, who you are as a person. I think that's one of the most empowering parts of a person's personality.
One thing what I've seen in her, she's very loving. She was very loving person.
What did she say about her husband, the late Ishfaq Ahmed, who was, of course, such a well-known writer as well? Did she speak about the times she had spent with him and how family life had been?
Not much that about, she spoke about that thing, but we were actually much into her work. Like I asked her, what you are doing these days? She said, I'm just compiling Ishfaq Ahmed work. And this is my life aim also. There are so much of things she showed me, rolls and papers. It was like compile and bundle of things around. She said, I don't know how to, I'm just compiling things. I'm just making it into like, it's my aim of life now. I asked her, are you writing more things? She said, no, I'm just compiling Ishfaq's work.
And that must have been a labor of love as well.
Exactly,
you know,
exactly.
A loving memory for her husband.
Exactly, true.
For something that he had loved doing. So that must have been something that she was
in everything she used to like quote Ishfaq Ahmed, like it was all his motivation. I did that. I didn't know how I did that, but I did it. And again, his work, she's compiling, that's again, you can see that there is love behind that. There is bonding in both of them.
Of course.
And one more, one thing I like, there's such a generous lady and such like talented lady, but living such a simple life and she's a role model for us, what I believe. For me, she's a role model, like
Absolutely.
for everyone she should be.
And in fact, you know, she was a role model for I would say that something that we need urgently on an emergency basis, don't we? We need the right role models. It seems that children or even adults or whoever are looking up towards things that may be not so intense. It might be just be fleeting, you know, because now we have social media and we have these instant celebrities.
True.
And instant celebrities who are sometimes, I don't know how you would say, would they be justified to the glory and the fame that they get? But here we have a writer, somebody who spent their whole life and years, and they've given us this treasure and this legacy that we can look back on. So they need to be celebrated. Absolutely, I agree with you, Hina. So, Hina, let's have a look at your work as well, because of course this is something that you must be, you know, really, really proud of. And take us sort of through your journey and how you depicted, how you started off with this huge challenge in depicting Bano Qudzia's work. So let's start at, so we're going to be showing you these images as well, these paintings, and these are all they're designed on sort of, they're electronically designed?
These are digital paintings.
Okay, digital
and one
paintings.
I did manual painting that I displayed in many exhibitions also, and the name was Rajagir actually.
So you'll tell us about that one later on when it comes up. So right now we're going to have a look at these digital paintings that Hina is going to share with us. Now this is what? This is a title cover, is this?
This is actually a poster on, like, it shows basically what is illustration. I'll explain you a little.
Right.
That is, we compile whole story in pictorial form. And we make one poster as well, so that we can display everywhere, like when book get published or anything.
Right.
So this is actually poster. It portrays whole like book, whole theme of the book. Like again, vulture is the main figure in the novel. What I did, I took a bird side, vulture side. Trial of Buzzard, you say that as well, right? Kingdom of Vulture also. So I took vulture as a story of vultures. I didn't paint it on like human. There are two stories comparatively running in it. One is she compared human nature with vulture nature. Like I say, like, and even she said me, vulture is not in man. We have built-in vulture inside us. Whether we believe or whether we accept or we don't
have
accept.
the same traits. Yes, exactly.
So this is how we started. I started reading the novel again. I read it for 7 times. Oh. Because it's not an easy to take challenge like that. Now
so
that
you
was
kept
challenge for me.
rereading it so that you would get the right depiction and you'd get the feel for.
Exactly. Then I went to some professor from GC University, and apart from that, I went to some newspapers. Then I started I went into detail. Like, though we summarize whole thing in one pictorial form, like if there are 100 pages, we get into 1 page.
Right, okay, Hina, I'll have to interrupt you right now because we have to go for a break, unfortunately, but we'll be back. Don't change the channel, and we've got lots more to discuss, so stay with us. Welcome back to the program. We are discussing Bano Qudsia, or Bano Apa, who, as she was affectionately known. She was a prolific writer. She was a playwright as well. Her plays were, you know, a trendsetter for Pakistan, for television in Pakistan. She had traversed many sort of borders, and she was a real celebrity. But not in the sense that you have celebrities nowadays. You know, she was a woman of substance, as you can say. We've been speaking to our guest Hina, and she's been telling us about, you know, how this great lady who had come along with so much, who had so much depth in her work, was actually living such a simple lifestyle. And I think, you know, that seems to be quite an impressive trait of anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
To
True,
be able
I agree.
to
Because
do that.
because if I see myself, I can't live like that. But she's such a great lady. She's spending such a simple life, and such an amazing person she was. Like her novel is really like it's. If we read in different places that this novel is even famous in India. It means
Yes,
in India
definitely.
also.
Yes, it
it's
is.
not only in Pakistan.
It's been translated as
and
well.
apart from
so-
that, I read somewhere that it's even internationally awarded as well, because it got translated by one person. He translated this whole novel, Raja Gid. The name is Trial of Vulture and and Trial of Basil also with this name.
So, you know, Hina, you had the pleasure of meeting her as well. What could we learn from her personality, such strength of character? How can we teach these things? How can we learn them ourselves and then teach them to our children? And how do you keep that legacy going on?
I feel like by being we should have patience inside us, which is really dead these days in everyone, wherever we see. Again, that thing is portrayed in this novel also. In different perspectives and in different areas, she depicted it with different, like even in our children also, we see this. There is patience is really finished these days. No one had that. Not even parents, not even I guess children also. So I feel like just be patient, just to get educate more, read more. Only this is the way we can continue. Like and we need to be simple. Like
Exactly.
to be generous with everyone.
Yes, and simplicity.
And I feel like finish negativity from inside us.
And
Which
don't
is
you
our
think
nature.
that is sort of a vicious circle as well, isn't it? The more simple you are,
Exactly.
the more your level of contentment is actually going to rise, which is
Exactly.
ironic, isn't it? Because we somehow seem to put together the equation that the more material goods that we acquire, the more
Exactly.
contentment we're going to get, the
Exactly.
happier we're going to be. Whereas the real message actually is being able to build on your own character and the richness
Exactly.
of people, the richness of human nature. That's what we need. We don't need things to substitute humans.
We need to hold our personality actually. This is one of very important thing. What I felt like she actually, her heart was very, very nice and very good. And it's all from our inside that how we are. Again, the thing over there, what she have described in this novel also, positivity and negativity. Then what I feel like, if we read this novel, we get to know that rather than going on negative side, start thinking positive. And go toward positive side. But I feel like that was in her nature also. She was positive actually in every aspect, everywhere, and everywhere everyone know her as a positive character. And again, woman of substance, you said earlier also. She hold her personality.
Yes.
And that's really different one. And amazing lady I never met in my life. Again, I'll quote this. And she's one of my favorite personality as well. I hope I'll also be like her someday.
That's a great, you know, that's a great thought to have. And I would say that that's the success. That is the definition of success.
Exactly.
To be able to impact another person,
Exactly,
even when
true.
you are not physically here in this world, and to have your spirit live on through your writings and through the personality that you have been.
Exactly,
And
true.
how you've inspired other people. So that's absolutely
True.
true. Hina, we were talking about, you know, we were looking at your digital paintings, and you were telling us about how this journey evolved for you, the inspiration that you took from Banu Appa's novel, and how you then transferred that inside creativity to something for everyone to see. Tell us, you've told us about the poster. Let's move on. What's the next digital image
Okay,
that
then
you have?
comes actually then we start making first of all what we do inside illustration of the whole book. Like we start picking the ideas. One of the best thing, like what we do in illustration, I read whole book 7 times, then I picked up important events from that.
Okay.
And again, it's not only my own effort. My teachers, they really helped me out. Especially I would quote my one of my teacher who was like illustration. She really helped, like what thing you should pick. And it's not only like illustration I made, we go toward whole things and we make a lot of ideas, but we compile up and end up with only some ideas, because obviously we have limitations also. So these were all events which were very important, and even like of 100 pages, if you read 100 pages, we make one idea out of that.
Okay.
So it is something like that. So this was all illustration in which I have, through vulture, I have done all that, like even feather in this depict soft, like a poor, weak person.
Okay.
What's vulture nature is that
preying on the weak.
Yeah, it grab and prey on weaker one, and
the
same
vulnerable.
as we also press
Which
the
is human
person.
nature, of
Yeah,
course it
it's
is.
human nature.
Yeah.
And we don't say anything who is powerful. We say to people who are like poor, weak people. So she had depicted this with the vulture. Again, here come the point.
Right.
So this was the thing, then title, in which whole of the like novel covers in this whole title. Like again, there are three things like ishq la hasil, like haram and halal. She have described everywhere, and then spirituality also.
Right.
So it will come one by one over here. Then comes like it's waqt-e muhasaba.
Now this is a very interesting image. What? Please explain this one.
Okay, one more thing. All these characters are self-made. Like I have worked on characterization. Basically, I do character making also. So when I read that, I started like it was a character like which doesn't exist anywhere. It was her thinking also. So it's spiritual sort of character in it.
Okay.
So it's coming to take to give some decision. So in next illustration, you can see that also.
Okay.
Right. Basically, it relates with spirituality.
Okay.
Okay, then comes like it's a sort of quote like.
Okay.
Muhasaba.
This is when they were having all the birds
discussion.
together and having the
And
discussion.
the discussion was on vulture that they should like
They should be exiled.
they should be exiled from this country. They should go somewhere else. It's not their place. They can't live here. So this is actually this discussion is going on. We are different. Like again, when we relate with human, so it's sort of like class event in that novel.
Okay.
It's in very first chapter. Like discussion is going on different things, right? Okay, then comes like again, then there was conversation and discussion within like vultures.
Yes.
And again, we can relate it with our society and it's all around us.
Tell us a bit about that discussion.
Okay, this discussion was like what within every human.
What would every vulture be saying to the other one?
Yeah, actually it is like that. If I think of myself.
Would they be in denial?
I guess they are. Yeah, they are. Like when we do something like that, we also feel like it's not right, but we think no. We say no. We are doing
have
right.
excuses.
Because we say no. It's right because it's our point of view. It's our perspective. But someone's perspective is different from us. So this is the thing. They were actually in this discussion. There is also a sense of depression in them. Also, it's not like that they are happy for all this whatever were happening. And again, if we take to human also, same thing. We can convert in, we can see in them also, like. So this was actually this event. It was night time, you can see, and everyone is like sitting on branches and they are discussing about that we are not going to go from here. We will not agree on decision.
So that's symbolic as well, isn't it? I mean, that's a sort of an inner conversation that a person has with themselves and their weaknesses, and when they're saying that they're justifying themselves. I mean,
exactly.
That's what we do when we have that inner conversation.
We do most of the time.
Most of the
time, we do that.
You'll be justifying yourself as to, well, okay, I just had to do that because that was the only way out.
Exactly.
So that is sort of reflective of that part of the human nature as well. Yeah.
Okay, now then comes the part where they are sitting for trial with final trial. So whosoever is their head of court, he'll give the decision, and everyone will have to hear that. Like it was, you have to go out from. And here comes like they prove like what you do, what's your nature. So you are not part of us. It mostly happens like something good happening. We say that it's not part of us.
Right.
We actually don't accept that thing, whether we think it is okay or not. So same was happening here. They were about to get decision. What they are, either they are going to stay or not.
Right.
Okay, then this illustration portrays actual human nature. In that discussion, they point out this thing also, like you live on, you eat dead, you live on dead. No one eat dead, but you do that. You are not part of our society. You should be out from this country. So this is like vulture usually eats dead, and they grab again weak one. Even when someone is about to die,
they sense it.
Yeah, it's a myth. Like they start revolving in circle. But nowadays we don't see even vultures also, because of, like, you know, they are most of the time they are on barren lands and on where there are no one around. So this is again, they eat, they go. They eat dead, they go. This is actually relate with human nature also. We eat dead. We are, either we agree or not, we are part of society. Very much in this place that, like haram and halal, either we agree or not, but it is going into chains, like.
Everything is linking
Yeah,
together,
it is
isn't
linking.
it? It's
It
the
is
sort
linking.
of, it's that once you are on a certain on a certain, you know, pathway, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is something that I have to do, and you're sort of you know, you're sinking lower and lower and lower, then how much, where does it end up? And that's another thing that she sort of examined and explored in this in this novel, is that the essence of sinking so low in yourself then led to insanity and madness.
Exactly.
Did it not?
Exactly true. Okay, about madness also, like a person don't know where he has to go, where the path will lead him to. Again, constructive and destructive thing comes in between, but person also sometimes don't know. Things come on the way, and to reach there, he keeps on doing it. Like same as vulture nature, she has related.
And isn't that a sort of a definition by Einstein on madness, isn't it? To do the same thing over and over again,
Yeah,
but expecting a different outcome.
Exactly, true.
So
we don't know sometimes what's the
yeah.
outcome to be. And again, madness lead to somewhere, that madness lead us to wrong path also. And even a person also know where it will end up to. So same as...
Okay, I'm just going to have to interrupt you again, Hina. We're having a wonderful conversation. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Okay, and welcome back to this episode of the Classics Show. We are discussing Bano Qudsia, Bano Apa, as she was affectionately known, and we're having a great time with our guest Hina, who is telling us about the illustrations that she made, the digital paintings that she made on Bano Qudzia's very famous novel, which was Raja Gid, of course. Hina, you were telling us about some of the paintings. Which one do you have for us right now?
Okay, right now it's with Old Gid. Basically, its theme was Old Gid.
Okay.
Like most of the time, and again where it relates, like most of the times at some point, we don't know, while reaching so far, we remain alone. Everything is around, but still we remain alone.
Isn't that one of the biggest human fears?
Yeah.
Loneliness.
Yeah, exactly. And where in this novel, she explained it very deeply. Like at some point, the character also remained alone while in searching of Ishkila Hasil. And same as human nature also. Like in search of something, sometimes we remain alone. Like we don't know where is the path, where to lead, and where it will lead us to. So in that huge search, we end up with loneliness. Okay. So this is like with the why this aged Gid I have shown. It depicts all that. Like it's like city have like good barren. There is nothing around it, and that's the only Gid she had left.
Okay.
So here she relate again this thing.
So there's the physical loneliness of the vulture, and then there's the loneliness of the human being,
Exactly.
which has come to the point because of his continuous journey along that path of forbidden love, or whatever you want to call it, haram.
Okay, one more thing. In this, during loneliness also, it's the human nature also. There comes spirituality also inside.
Oh yes.
So this was also one more thing. Like when person remain alone, there is spirituality comes. And again, we don't know where it will lead to. It is sort of madness also sometimes. So it will come in next painting where you can get to know that what it led that person or that person to, and how actually okay, on this painting, like it's when someone die again, like vultures start like revolving around in
They
round.
start encircling that.
They search,
place.
they actually sometimes it happens.
They anticipate death.
They search also, yeah. They get to, like it's by the instinct, they get to know that there is something for them to eat.
Right.
And they reach there.
Which is such a sort of an
exactly.
eerie feeling, isn't it?
Exactly.
To think that, okay, you know, you marvel in nature.
Exactly.
And you marvel in the sort of the intricacies that we just, you know, sort of ignore, but there is something, so much going on.
Yeah. And this is one great thing she had depicted throughout two types of stories. Okay, then the point comes like how in this illustration in the novel also when
now
you
that
read
is a
that,
very sort of profound illustration.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't
There
it?
is one character of even Sufism, also even a spiritual character as well, and how vulture got toward haram. She explained all that thing also. Before vulture never used to means eat haram also. But how it got toward them and how they
it
get
developed
into
that taste.
So it was all with like how human also get attracted into that thing. It's not by built-in like we are by birth we are like that. Human is like that. But there comes some point also where human get toward it. What I also believe in this thing. So it was how like one after the other get into it into this thing.
Right.
This is also one of main point of the whole story.
So that is a very very symbolic
even one more
depiction.
thing, like when you read toward madness, you don't know, you end up with even suicide also sometime. Like it is actually a suicide attempt, even being spiritual also. That person didn't knew what to do. Sometimes person don't know what to do even. So it's confusion, and again you say fear also.
Fear
of
loneliness,
death, okay, yeah,
isolation,
exactly. And fear of death lead to even death sometimes.
Which is such a paradox.
Yeah, exactly. And we see in today's, I guess we see everywhere these things now. If you relate that, and again Bano Qudsia quoted that thing. It's all I relate to nature, and by instinct she said I got to know that this is going to happen. In 1981 she's writing, and things we are seeing these days. So here her intelligence also falls in.
Absolutely, very gifted lady.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, then comes that finally the point came. If you recall the previous painting, it was the God ordered you have to go out from this country. You are no more part of us. You have to go.
You're banished.
Yeah, you are banished now. So in this painting, it is like that. You have to go. You are banished from here. And again, it's the last painting, last illustration. It compiled of the whole, like, it's a crux, like what happens to vulture at end. Vulture eat like dead bodies of animals, and even we say that they eat dead, but no one eat vulture's dead body. What it get into like sand or mud, and it get dissolved itself. This is the end. Like even if we compare it to human also, what's the end?
Which again is highly symbolic, isn't it?
Exactly.
The novel is just full of symbolism.
That's
and it's sort of
amazing.
like something that has been gift wrapped.
Exactly.
And it's been gift wrapped in a way that it's just going on, and every layer that you remove, you come to another sort of a layer in between, and then you start to remove that one, and then you just think,
and when you
it's
read
amazing.
it, you really like end up in, oh my God. It was my also like, I was, oh my God, it really happens. And even if we don't know what we are going to do, and no one knows what point it will lead them to. So this is whole crux. She proved it with this point. This is actually the end result.
Right.
You don't know where you are going to lead, but this can happen.
So what did you what did you learn from this and this journey that you'd first been, this appealed to you, you started your thesis, and then you came, and then your end result was this beautiful depiction. You got to meet the writer, the person who inspired you. You shared your work with her, and from one creative person to the other. What bond did you share at that time?
Okay, one more thing, like what I learned from her was generosity. Like she was generous lady. She was okay. I will say she was gentle lady also.
Now, how do you describe the generosity? Generous with her time, generous with her affection, generous with her inspiration.
I say affection also. She was very affectionate. Like with me also. She even at that time she said, okay, bring your mother also next time.
Okay.
So I got my mother along again. It was very honor for her also, like meeting such a great lady. Like she called us and she met us, and she really like again she was very affectionate also at that time. And like the thing I will say, what I've learned in this is wherever path you want to go, you have to go. Just be positive. While reading that, because I started. What was one more thing? I started like looking at people. When I used to see people, I see like starting observing them as animals or all that. And this she asked me also.
And she also asked you this.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is like, be positive. You'll get your destination. Things take time.
Yeah.
You don't get everything at once.
And patience.
Yeah, patience matters.
And also sort of a an acceptance that
Exactly.
okay, maybe this is something I'm going to have. This is in my destiny. Or then sometimes she's dealing with this as well, that some things are not in your destiny.
Exactly.
So to take the path that is unnatural or something that is going to hurt other people on the way, or even yourself, you have to reflect on that.
Actually, this is matter of belief also. We should believe in ourselves also. What is it all in all that also? In the whole novel, the matter of belief was missing in one person. Like what was decided for her, he didn't took that. He moved toward a different path. Like again, constructive and destructive thing comes. Like he went toward that path. He also didn't know what will come on the way, and on that way, challenges also came. But challenges comes on the way. But different things a person tries to experience. Like
Hina, which one of those? I mean, it's sort of a cliched question, isn't it? It's like asking a parent which is your favorite child. But which one of the depictions are you the most happiest with?
What is my favorite painting?
Yeah.
Okay, this one is my favorite painting. Like it's again painting on whole, and it was named with Raja Gid also.
Okay.
And I exhibited in many exhibition as well.
Okay.
In it portrays whole of Raja Gid theme. Like you can say, they are sitting in the dark, right?
Okay.
Again one. And feather gives like poor and weaker person is depiction of with a feather.
Okay.
Right. And
Right.
even vultures are sitting, feathers in mouth, and I feel like it's my one of favorite painting also.
Okay.
And one more where vultures were eating like dead also. That was also again my favorite painting as well.
Okay. That's
But for me, a great honor was this, and I guess it was I was most happiest person at that time. I was really excited when she said, "You did justice to my work.
And
no
that
one
must
ever
have-
did it. You did it." So that was one of my.
That would have been a fantastic
Yeah,
feeling, and
exactly.
something that you can carry with you for
exactly.
the rest of your life. I mean,
Exactly.
that's absolutely great. Well, Hina, thank you so much. We've come to the end of the program, and it's been wonderful having you here and sharing all
Same
these
here.
experiences that you had with Bano Abba, and how she was really happy at the effort that you had taken to
True.
depict her work. So that's a great success for you as well.
Sure. And she's no more with us. She'll always be missed.
That's true. That's true.
She
And
will be always missed.
she'll always be missed, and she will always be in our hearts. And that's one of the wonderful things about writers, about artists, about musicians, about anyone who is involved with the creative field, is that when they are physically not with us anymore, their spirit lives on forever and ever. And the same can be said about Bano Appa. She has left us with such beautiful gems of literature, wonderful plays, so many things that we can indulge in and relive her work and enjoy as well. We hope you've enjoyed watching this program as much as we have enjoyed presenting it. Until next time, bye-bye.